Hola, mi gente. Welcome to Uno Souls. I'm Philip Johnson with your host, Brigida Toronio.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We're here the second week of January 2021, and we are still talking a lot about refresh and going into the year and getting our mindsets around us. And um, this week we spoke with Heather Evans of Pivot.
Yes. hmm What an enjoyable conversation I had with her. She is a wonderful lady with so much wisdom and just really, really so refreshing to hear, about the personal transformation is a lot of what she works on.
And, what I found really interesting was the way she talks about dialoguing, so to speak, with your inner critic and tips and tools that can help you during those what can be super tough moments. So I'm really excited for everyone to listen in this week. So let's just hop right into it.
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? My name is Brigida Toruño, and welcome to Uno Souls Chat. I am just so honored today to be chatting with Heather Evans, an Uno Soul, and she is the founder of Pivot, a coaching organization. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much, Brigida. I'm so glad to be here to have this conversation with you.
Thank you. I am too. I'm so glad that you're here. Well, we are in the new year. It's 2021, but just to touch a little bit on our surreal year 2020, just a little like check-in of how did you do? How did you cope through the year?
I think like everyone else, it has been it's riding a wave, riding a wave. At times there have been tragedies, and at times has been deep loneliness, and at times there has been that feeling of, gosh, will this ever end?
Right.
And at the same time, there have been beautiful things that happened this year. Babies were born this year. People got married in spite of everything.
Right.
So, how I've been doing is riding the wave, just like everyone else. Using the tools that I can to help support myself in staying in the most centered place that I can, no matter what was going on around me.
I love that. So important and not always easy. Not always easy to stay centered. Yeah.
It's a practice, I like to say. It's a practice.
It really is. Yes. And Heather, I'd love to hear about your business. Please tell us about your coaching business and what you do.
So I'm in what I like to call personal transformation. I work with organizations, I work with teams, and I work with individuals. But I'm really most interested in human transformation, in human consciousness,
Mm,
how it is that we can shift from the weakest to the strongest part of ourselves in any given situation.
Oh boy, I just love that, the personal transformation. And it's interesting because I think everybody goes through that in some way, shape, or form in their lifetime, right? But what's interesting is that it's sort of been the planet that's been going through a transformation, like in 2020, right? It's, like Earth and humanity and everybody going through these changes almost at the same time.
I agree. We're all, and the good news or bad news, right? I see it as good news, is we're all in this together, and for whatever reason, this is the time and place where each of us souls that are here, from my perspective, chose to be here. And that it is, in a sense, a very unique time on the planet. It's a time when, while there's a lot of upheaval and chaos, and it's also a time where sometimes in chaos we make our greatest leaps, our greatest transformations.
So true.
Yeah, so I see it as an opportunity, even in the devastation of it. And there has been devastation for so many.
Yes.
We're not right, so we're still in this together.
That's right. Yeah. So, so we're now in 2021, and, we're looking at sort of being in a refresh mode, and everything that comes with that. Like you said, the chaos will bring us to this refresh place. How can we make sure that we'll have a new good year? What tools do we need to have in our toolkit?
Well, it's a beautiful question. Thank you for asking it. One of the things, I follow a lot of spiritual teachers and leaders and folks who use their voice to be an inspiration in the world. And I know that you're doing that work right here. One of the other leaders that I follow is Carolyn Mace.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she put out something a while ago that really struck me. She was talking through the mystical laws. And the first mystical law that she shared is this: there is only now.
Oh.
There is only now. So from that place of, this is a refresh, it's a new year, it's a time for all of us that often will go into our process of looking at the year, of doing as much planning as we can.
Right.
But I like that practice of just recognizing that the law of now, like, that's what there is. It's only now. And in the very best way, what that often means is that there's always something brand new, because it's always a new now, right now. One of the ways that I've gotten through this year, worked with this year, is with a little affirmation. Affirmations work really well for me. And
me too.
Yeah, right. One of my favorite affirmations is something very simple. It's just a statement to remind myself. And that is, anytime I feel like I've gotten off a little bit, I'm in anxiety, irritability, anger, blame, whatever it is that I'm in that I want to shift out of. It's just very, very simple. I just say, it's okay. You just forgot who you are. Welcome back.
Oh, I love that, Heather. That's right? Such a good one. I need to write that down and have it in front of me on my computer. Yeah. The present moment. I mean, it's such an important concept, and it seems like an easy one. And if I'm very aware of it and thinking about it, but sometimes it's so hard to stay there. And I have a friend though who says, this moment right now is a miracle. And that, when I say that to myself, it just has so much meaning. I mean, even much more than just like this present moment, that it's a miracle. It's never going to happen again in exactly the same situation. And it's so important in order to stay grounded.
It really is. And I love that. I love the whole topic of refresh and the whole idea that there's always a new now. And that at any given point, maybe it's in a conversation with someone, in a relationship, in a work environment, wherever we are, if we're not happy with how things are going, it is within our power to say, wait a minute, let's give it a refresh. Let's just start again. You can do it with parenting. You can do it, in romantic relationships, in business partnerships, in teams and community, whatever is going on. Whoa, this isn't the way we want this to go. Let's do a refresh. Let's have a new now, right now.
That I love it. I love it. So in terms of a new now, can you tell us, are there certain tools that we can use to be aware of it and or to get there?
Well, I think I'll just speak from a lot of the work that I do in the world, the work that I practice and live,
Yes.
as well as clients to do. And the first tool that I found to be the most effective is to figure out, where am I putting my energy? Am I using my energy with intention, or am I kind of losing my energy? It's getting siphoned off, whether it's through, watching too much of the news media, or, getting in a negative spiral of thinking inside with my inner critic. Whatever might be happening, where is my energy?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have a tool on my website that's free. Anyone can take, takes about 10 minutes. And it's a free assessment. If you want to, anyone can go to pivotincorporated.com. And you can just take that assessment. And what it does is it just asks you a few questions that help you look at 4 different environments: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, to get a sense of, where are you losing your energy? Where is it kind of getting siphoned off? Because the truth is that all of us on any given day, any given now, if you will, have 100% biophysical energy available to us. But we will often wake up with immediate disempowered language that we're using. Oh my goodness, what time? Oh, I'm so tired. What do I have to do today? Oh my God, what happened yesterday was a total mess. All of that immediately actually is draining our energy in the sense that it's disempowering us.
Right.
So all these little micro ways that we do, where we're either empowering or disempowering ourselves in any given now. So I like that idea of just becoming self-aware. How do I personally disempower myself?
Right.
Where am I really stepping into what I call personal leadership, where the most empowered self, my highest mind, the truth of this moment, where am I stepping into that in a really big way? And that's worth becoming very aware of as well. That's because we can't just, we often are like, okay, where am I messing up? It's like, wait a minute, where are you really doing fantastic? And what are some of the things you can learn about how you're doing that? What are you doing in those moments that you can apply to some of these others?
Yeah, that's so true. And in terms of energy, it's something that I've become much more aware of, my energy, the energy around me. I mean, everything is energy, right? And that's what I've been learning over and over again. And I do I practice something called Eden Energy Medicine. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's by Donna Eden, and it's been around for a long time, and based on, more even ancient Chinese meridians and, all of that. But it's self-care that you can give to yourself to balance your energy. So I try to do that day and night. There's a little quick, like 5-minute routine. But in terms of starting the day with the right type of energy and being in the now, I just recently moved, and I live on a lake. And just this past weekend, I created this little like meditation space in my bedroom, and I wanted it to have the view out the window to the lake. I just can't tell you what it's done for me. I made it I just sort of made it myself. I put up a back jack, and my zazen pillows, just sort of arranged them there. Because I was like, oh, I need to get a fancy chair. And I was just like, I'm just going to do this now with what I have. And it makes my heart so happy. And I have this silly grin on my face the rest of the day. And, there's been really difficult things that have happened in our world these last few days. And I have a silly grin on my face. So, but really, it's just been a beautiful way to start the day that I do it right at sunrise. And so anyways, that's been what I've been doing for myself.
Everything that you're saying is so lovely, because what I'm hearing is each of those choices that you're making is you stepping into your power. I mean, we use our energy to make a commitment to use my free will, which is really all we have. Our real power is our free will. That's right. You're using your free will to add to your own intention for how you want to be in the world. So, it's like, do I want to be the source of peacefulness and well-being, for myself? Yeah, okay, I'll set up a meditation area. Yeah. So how we're using our free will and the power of that choice, are we getting caught up in some of the things that are going on around that bring us down and disempower us, or are we creating spaces so that we can rejuvenate ourselves, fill our cup back up before we step back out into the world, fix our own air mask, as they say, right, before trying to assist someone else. So it's beautiful. Everything that you're describing is that action of personal leadership.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. What are other ways that we can empower ourselves and to get through the challenging times?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I do a lot of work in emotional intelligence and becoming more aware of what's really occurring in the brain as we go throughout our day, and where in that sense, as we become more aware, are we losing energy, gaining energy? And a big part of it is in the area of emotional literacy. So really just understanding our own emotions, being willing to own them, knowing what to do when we're in a space of my inner critic's going crazy, I'm frustrated, I'm scared, I'm aggravated, whatever is happening, to really own and be with that and know what to do with it. So often we're really just told with our emotions in general, if it's a quote unquote shadow emotion, right? You're sad, you're worried, you're in some sort of negative spiral, just shove it away. That's right. Just keep it inside, bottle it in, don't be negative, especially when we're in a place of, I want to be a force of love in the world. Sometimes what happens is we don't know how, when we're in a negative space, to deal with it, to really work with it. So a piece of the work I do around emotional literacy is to just understand, where am I in either my lower mind, as I call it, that disempowered place, or my higher mind that's more empowered? How am I caring for myself when I'm feeling in my disempowered space? Because we will often go into pretty severe self-judgment. Yes. And that's when the inner critic really has a heyday. Especially with so much chaos going on, it's real easy to get in a negative spiral. So a few things that can be very helpful in that situation. The first is to acknowledge that it's okay. It's okay to feel anxious and irritable and, concerned and maybe even deeply sad. Right. Allowing ourselves the dignity of all of our emotions is really important.
I love that.
Yeah, and the second piece is to not take that shadow emotion and put it onto someone else.
So
Right?
key.
It's such a toxic way of being in the world, and it just creates more and more of a negative environment. So how do we work with it when we're feeling these shadow emotions in a way that doesn't like vomit it up on everyone else we love?
Yes.
One of the ways is through a process, the little tool called Purge Writing. Purge Writing. So, and it can be done for 10 minutes, and you just sit in a space. Sometimes I like to light a candle. Negative emotions tend to kind of hang out energetically like spider webs. They kind of float around in the energy field. And a candle, they're drawn to flame, the heat of it. So, you can light a candle near you, just taking that kind of negative energy out of the space as you sit with a pen and paper and just writing out in a free form purge all of your negative feelings. Any thought that comes up that's negative, that's upsetting, as long as it's not self-directed, this is not a self-abuse exercise, but just purge writing out for 10 full minutes, any rant you need to have.
Yeah.
And then burning that paper when you're complete.
What a wonderful.
Yeah, that alchemic shift from what happens in the neural pathways in the brain when we write out and purge out the negative energy that's in there just through the pen and paper. It can't be done on a computer. It's not the same as far as what happens physically. Yeah. So it's one way to release the neural pathways, to get that inner critic to just be able to express his or herself fully with no filter and no concern, and then to burn that, just to release the energy in a healthy space.
I love that so much. So almost like putting a timer on, write for 10 minutes and just kind of go free flow, get it all out of you, right? All of those negative things. And then to burn it, I mean, what just a completion of that exercise. It just feels like it would be so releasing, and you just feel like, okay, I'll start fresh again. Begin again.
It is a refresh moment. It's a way to just purge it out. We just purge it out. The key with that exercise is not to reread it. So what happens in the brain can actually be measured. Okay, if we were to watch someone and put nodes on, right, so that we could really scientifically look at what was happening with someone who was purge writing, we would see that those negative pathways would actually get a release. The energy of that neural pathway that has that recurring negative thought or emotion in the limbic system of the brain would actually decrease and release. So as we do that, what we don't want to do is read anything we've written, because what we're doing is we're taking that back in.
Oh, that's very key.
Again, yeah. So it's really important to just honor yourself. Again, just thinking about emotions as a very dignified human experience. And all of them, the full range, and just knowing how to work with your joy and your sadness, with your anger and your or fear, as well as your inspired thinking and your creativity. So being able to really run the full gamut is an emotional literacy skill. So one of those tools is purge writing. We tend to have a lot more comfort level and interest in looking at, let's say, the positive.
That's right.
Negative, we kind of shove away and we just want it to go away. I just don't want to feel bad anymore. We're so uncomfortable with the reality of the human experience that is discomfort.
Right.
So it is part of the process. So that would be the first tool I would recommend, would be purge writing.
Okay.
The second is actually an affirmation I have here on my desk. I'm just going to read it. I love it. It's one I use for myself. I know my path to peace, to well-being, to higher states of my higher mind my more empowered state is about acceptance. Not rejecting myself, not rejecting my negative feelings, not rejecting situations. And that's hard when there are things where we'll see about what's going on in the world and we don't like it.
Right.
So acceptance doesn't mean I like it. It means I'm going to stop resisting it. I'm going to accept in this moment that that's what's happening right now. That just is.
Yeah.
So when we can come into that way of acceptance, and then we get to our empowered mind. Disempowerment rejects what's happening. Empowerment accepts it. And if we don't like it, now we can get into, all right, what's an empowered action I could take in this situation, given the fact that I'd like to see a change, given the fact that I think there's an opportunity for a different way of being. Right. So the affirmation I use is, and I leave it on my desk for a reason, Virginia, I need to practice this as much as everyone else. Yeah. So the affirmation is, I choose the experience that exists in this moment. I choose the experience that exists in this moment. Again, choose doesn't mean I like it.
Right.
By choosing, what we mean is accepting what's going on with no judgment, no blame, and no ultimatum.
Right. Oh, so challenging and so important.
Accepting reality, however it's unfolding in the universe right now.
Oh my gosh, that's such a big one. It really, I love that. And it's such a big one because I work with that and I struggle with that. And it's something that I'm very aware of that I have to work on. And for me, it's also part of the letting go, letting go of the control, letting go of the outcome, letting go of the future, and just flowing. And boy, is it hard.
It really is. I just really believe that life is a practice.
It is.
Everything we're talking about, the position you're taking with your meditation space, your choices about what you do. I think this is our view on accepting and letting the next moment be refreshed and be new and be a new now and make a different choice and take a different action. All of that really is the opportunity of what we're being presented with.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, so beautiful. Wow, thank you. You really have so much knowledge. And I think that you would be a perfect coach, to really help me and any of us to just be more aware, to be centered and grounded in this moment now, and then to allow us to then just grow from there, right? To be to reach our highest potential.
Absolutely. And one of the things that occasionally we will think that the misunderstandings about acceptance as one of the pathways to empowerment is that we'll misunderstand it as inaction. So acceptance is not inaction, meaning zero action.
Right.
Or liking what's happening. It's actually a matter of being able to stop judging what's happening so that we can take a step back and choose our response to what's happening rather than being reactive and adding to discord. So, it's so easy for all of us in the human experience to be in the space of judgment.
Right.
I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
yes, I love it. I haven't done it, but I've read things here and there.
Yes, it's just really made a huge difference in my life. And one of the things that particular book teaches is that, what is a miracle? A miracle happens in every moment. A miracle is a shift in perception. It's a shift in perception. So it's like choosing a different way of responding is a miracle in many ways. But to do that, we must stop judging what's happening. Because if I'm in judgment, I'm very much in my lower mind. I'm in my most disempowered place. I can't possibly choose my highest thought in this moment because I'm just too busy, caught up in blaming or self-righteousness or, or annoyance so I can't get out of feeling the defeated space, the disempowered space, unless I'm able to really shift out of the judgment of it. Once we do that, now we're stepping back into our power.
Right. Oh, that's so beautiful, Heather. And it also reminds me of the Four Agreements, right, by Don Miguel Ruiz. And that's something that I've called it my Bible for many years, and I keep a copy on, in my place and in full view to always remind myself. And so I was just gonna read them if you don't mind. I sometimes have them memorized. So to be impeccable with your word, right? And to not take things personally, and to not make assumptions, and to always do your best. So those four things, in many ways, also to me remind me of everything you've just been talking about.
I love that you brought that into this conversation. When I'm doing leadership training, I will often talk about Don Miguel's work in this area, because from my perspective, those four agreements are the four agreements of conscious leaders, of conscious leadership. It's like, if I cannot speak with integrity and say only what I mean, which is what be impeccable with your word is, how can I step into my highest leadership? How can I be my best self in any given moment? If I don't take, if I'm busy taking everything personally, then how can I shift into a higher way of being in this particular situation? Right? Because I'm just going to feel attacked all day long if I'm taking things personally.
Right.
So, it's beautiful. Those four are keystones for living an empowered life.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Heather, I wondered about a phrase that just really resonated with me in 2020, and it may not so much in 2021, although I think it's a phrase that is a positive one, and it's about savoring moments of deliciousness. And so and for me, it's not, again, so savoring, not necessarily from a food perspective, but it could be. But I wonder if you could tell us about a moment of savoring the deliciousness that you've had.
Savoring the deliciousness, which I love. There's just something so like juicy about.
Yeah, exactly. I love the words, the way they come out in my mouth.
Right? So you're asking what moment from this last year have I savored? Let's see, what would I savor? A moment of deliciousness. I'm a mom. I have two children, one 15 and one age 20.
Okay.
And I would have to say that this year, interestingly, because of COVID, one is in high school and one in college, but they've both been with me more as we school from home.
Yes.
And we, kind of hibernate, safer at home. And one moment of deliciousness is that I turned 50 in 20. And I had an idea. Thank you. But an idea about what that would look like and that pre-COVID and all that, right? So a moment of deliciousness was the moment I realized that all I really, really needed was to be surrounded by their love and with my siblings too, because we spent it together. But just a small group, 7 people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that.
Here I thought, oh gosh, we have these ideas. I had this idea that it would be all my friends from all over and I'd host a big party but the truth is that my moment of deliciousness came and I realized I don't need a big party. I just need this beautiful soul connection with my children who are just lovely human beings.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Just model such old soulness to me. And they're just
Well, you are a beautiful human being, and you just radiate light. And I'm just so lucky to have gotten this chance to chat with you. And just one last thing, I wondered if you could leave us with some words of wisdom.
Yes, I would like to share something that, again, right here on my desk. This is a prayer. I would consider it a prayer. I have it printed out here.
Ooh.
It's from A Course in Miracles. Anyone who's a student of A Course, this is lesson 361 through 365. So A Course gives a lesson for every day of the year.
I see.
It's a shift in perception every day of the year. So it's a thought. So this is the last 5 days of the year. There is one single thought that is offered, and I'll share it here because I find it most inspiring. And I'll just invite anyone listening, if you're in a safe space, to close your eyelids if you'd like, and just breathe this in. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And I'll read that again. It's like a prayer to your soul. Let your ego say, this holy instant, dear soul, would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much, Heather. Wow, I'm just so grateful that we had a chance to chat, and thank you so much. I honor the light in you, Heather.
As I you. Thank you, Brigitte.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you so much for listening to Uno Souls Chat. You can find us at www.unosouls.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I would love to hear from you if you would like to chat with me. Have a beautiful week and see you at the next episode.